Hi, Crafty friends. You guys, you know the mop heads that you can get at the Dollar Tree? This isn't a full mop head, but this is what's left over because I did 5 projects with one mop head. And I love inexpensive crafts. I love when we can make them look super cool. So stay tuned because, again, we're doing 5 projects and look what we have left. Actually, I have a couple more pieces that are like smaller pieces. So we could actually get more than 5 out of this. So thanks for watching. So let's start off with project number 1. And what we're going to do is, like I said, this is going to be 5 projects out of one mop head. So first we need to take it apart. And so I just kind of find the center part of it, and then you can kind of start tugging on some of the strings, and you'll find some come out much easier than others, but you can just remove the whole thing. And then that little black part that holds it all together, I saved that. I thought, you know what, maybe we can come up with a project for that. Who knows? But, you know, I like to save all the bits and pieces because you just never know when you might need them. But what we're going to do with this is we are going to make a frame. Well, not make a frame. We're going to enhance a frame. There we go. The background of the frame. So what I'm going to do is I got these canvases a while back at the Dollar Tree. I had already taken apart one of them. It's kind of a square. And then I was like, let's take some cardboard for the backer part of this. So I just kind of traced out the shape of it, and then we will cut that out. And the reason why I traced the inside part of it is because that's where we're going to put the mop in between that. But first up, I want to add a little pickling wash to this. You could paint this if you wanted. You can see it's a very close to what it is, but I just kind of wanted to cover it because we're going to do a paint technique on this as well. So it's kind of like texture on texture. Y'all know that I love to do that when I'm crafting. So what I did was I just took it apart. There's actually 4 strings in one part of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover that whole piece of cardboard. And these have a little bit of give in them, a little stretch to it, because you can see when you take them apart, they kind of have those it's like almost when you take your hair out of a braid, you have all the waves and everything. So we kind of want that to go away a little bit. Now, one thing that I thought about was, ooh, should I paint the cardboard the same color as this? So that way, you know, there are going to be gaps in there. And then I was like, you know what? No, I don't mind a bit if some of that is coming through. And the great thing about this too, friends, is you can always, once you lay it out, if you have any big gap areas, you can put some more of this in between those areas, kind of like as fillers. So another cool thing about this is just because it happened to be the size of this frame, I actually, like this one right here, this is one of the pieces, right? We actually get 3 pieces out of this one. So talk about a way to like extend. If you didn't want to pull them apart and you wanted to put thicker pieces on there, you could. So here's that distressing technique. I love this one so much because it is so stinking easy and it just adds such a cool distressing. So you can see that's just kitchen sponge from the Dollar Tree, and you can see I've used this many times. I don't ever clean off the paint. I just keep putting layers over it because that pad is kind of scratchy, and that's what you want to give these layers. You can add on more paint if you want. You can not, I'm going pretty heavy-handed. You could go light-handed so there's not so much, but look how cute this is. All right, on to project number 2. So let's make a flower. So I just have some extra cardboard. Listen, friends, I am that crazy kitchen lady. When anybody's like has cardboard or Amazon has come, I'm like, let's cut that up and save that. We can craft with that. Yeah, that's me. But anyways, I'm going to put a little hot glue in the middle, and then we're just going to start there, and we're just going to start twisting this all the way around. Now you can see I'm just using one piece out of the mop. I didn't take it apart like we did with the last one. But what I did try to do as I was just doing a little hot glue at a time and then just kind of smushing it down with my finger so that it would really all adhere to the flower and it looked a little more smushed down than, I know, is that it? I think that's a technical crafting term, smush down. I do. I think it is. But I just covered this whole thing. You could make the flowers as big as you wanted, as small as you wanted, however you want to do this part. But I just kept wrapping with some hot glue. Okay, a lot of hot glue. And I know it probably looks like I'm burning my fingers. Look, I finally get out the little glue finger. And then I don't even use it sometimes, friends. Because that's the way it is around here. I probably don't have any fingerprints left on my one finger, but that's okay. Listen, the sentiment was there that I tried to put it on. But anyways, I got this all wrapped on there, and then if you need to trim off any of the excess, the cardboard back behind, you can. And then I was like, okay, so what do I want to put this on? And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. I got those little burlap canvas, not burlap canvas, the little burlap frames from the Dollar Tree. And I thought, oh, I love the burlap color with the color of the mop head. I thought that would be super cool. So I did a little bit of an angle cut. That way we can just kind of lay it down and it just lays nicely. And then, like I said, I'll trim off any excess cardboard that might be sticking out. So once we put this onto the burlap, I was like, okay, so what about a stem? And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it all. I'm going to use the mop head for the stem. I'm going to also make some leaves. And then I was like, we need to put something in the middle of the flower. So I kind of dug through some old buttons that I had gotten. I love listen, when I go thrifting, I'm that girl that's like, buttons in a bag, like a Ziploc. Yes, please, I'll buy those. If they're in a container, oh yes, I am buying those. Yeah, that's totally me. But anyway, so I put this all down, and friends, what an easy thing. And if you had a bigger canvas to put all of this on, you could do multiple flowers. You could even do different shapes, but just another fun way to use a mop head to craft with. I am almost thinking, what if we dyed these and then we had colorful flowers? Wouldn't that be cool? Oh my gosh, now we're gonna have to try that because that sounds pretty darn amazing. I like that. So I'm just gonna put the leaves on here and just kind of make them however you want. Oh my gosh, now all I can think about is dyeing. Why didn't I think of that before I started this? Anyways, friends, look at how cute this turned out. I just think this is so much fun. All right, so on to the next project is a wreath idea. So I've had this wreath form forever from Dollar Tree. I shouldn't say forever, but I feel like it's forever because I haven't used it since I bought it. But I mean, they still have them. So anyways, I'm just going to start wrapping this whole thing. And this is where I was like, oh man, I might not have much left out of this mop. I had a ton left. So that was super cool. So I just kind of kept matching up the ends and going around. And I know that these wreaths aren't perfectly symmetrical. That's okay. I love the look of some areas. It's a little bit thicker. Some is a little bit thinner. But you could easily use the metal wreath forms as well. You could do that. Just whatever you have on hand. You could actually, even if you didn't, if you had cardboard, cut out the shape of a wreath and then you could just glue it to that and then it would be flat on the back. That would be another idea as well. So I was thinking about, okay, what do I want to put on this? Because I wanted to add like a little bit of a decorative element. And so I have this little container that has like burlap flowers that I've gotten from Dollar Tree. I think I even have some like paper flowers in there. I have all sorts of things in there. And one time I had bought at Hobby Lobby, it was in the sticker section and it was the coolest flower and it kind of had this leaf on it. And I thought, oh, please let that be in that container. Of course, I didn't look. I'm just hoping that it's in there because once I get all of this done, I'm like, oh, seriously, we have got to find that. But then I was like, well, a burlap flower would be cool too. But I did find it and that's what I'm going to add to this. And I know it looks like it's taking forever on here. It was a little bit longer because again, you're wrapping each individual one, but I love how this turned out. I never like things perfectly perfect. That's just my vibe. And I know my vibe is distressing. A lot of you send me a message and say, Bonnie, why do you distress everything? And I guess that's just my vibe. Like my whole house is like distressed stuff, tarnished silver, like creams, all different color creams. Like I just have, I don't know, it's kind of a weird thing. But now I'm all, have y'all seen the Grandma Chic stuff that they're doing now? Stop it. Now I have to go to every thrift store and every antique store and try to find all the things. Because I mean, why not redecorate rooms? That's one of my favorite things to do. And then we can repurpose stuff. Oh my gosh, that could be like a whole series. Holy mackerel. Okay, sorry, all the ideas are coming. So here's that container I was talking about where I just kind of was going through like, what do I want to put on here? I want that flower, and there's that flower, and I twice put my hand right on it and didn't even see it. Do you guys do that? Yeah, I'm terrible about that. Actually, my husband and my daughter are worse about it. Normally they're like, I can't find it, and then I go find it. Anyways, I finally find it in this container, and then we're just going to hot glue it into place. And then, friends, we have such a cool little piece of decor. We could hang it on our door. You can always think about this, too. I have a couple of old windows in my house, and I love to hang wreaths on them, and this will be a fun one. But I think this is super duper cool. All right, so next up, we are going to do a tassel. And friends, there are so many ways to do tassels, but this was just one of the ways. And then I was like, after I did it, I was like, you know what? I could use this as a tie back. In one of my bedrooms, we have kind of like these sheer curtains, but I always like to pull them back because to let the sun in. And I was like, oh, I am so going to put this on there. So you can see I also have a wood bead. I just grabbed it out of my stash. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add that to it as well. You totally wouldn't have to do that. You could actually add other ribbon to this as well. So, you know, if you didn't want all of the mop head pieces, you could add ribbons to it. So that would be super fun. And then I was like, okay, both of those are not going to fit into that hole. So I took a little masking tape and just wrapped it around there so we'd have a little bit of a point, and then I could just put it through the little wood bead there. But I thought another fun thing, do you guys remember from Dollar Tree they had those wooden like little circles? Do you remember those? Like they were open in the middle like a hoop. Those would be fun to add to this as well. I think I have some of those left. I'll have to go dig through my stuff, but that would be fun to add to it. So I'm going to take this off the top, and then I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue to the ends of that top hanging part so that it doesn't fray, because sometimes it does fray, and if you just add a little bit of glue, it really helps with that a lot. And then once you get the glue on there, I kind of twist it a little bit with my fingers, and then you can just trim off that top twist. But again, touching hot glue with your fingers, I know I need to get better about it and not do that, but friends, I'm just telling you, I am so bad about that. Gosh. But anyway, so this would be another one. You know how I was talking about, oh, why didn't we dye this with the flowers? Wouldn't this be fun to dye too? Like whatever color your room is, we could just like do the tips of the tassel. That would be cute too. So lots of ideas here. But then I'm going to get it all like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tie this center part off. That way it gives it a little bit of a bubble, topper, whatever. Some of those words. So I will just cut off the excess and then just glue all of that down. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. I have some embellishments that I had gotten. I don't even remember what I bought this box. I think I got it off of Amazon, but it had all sorts of little fun, like little pins. Oh, I know what it was. Remember when I decorated the sneakers and we put in the ribbons for the laces and we added all the little things? That's what I bought this for. And then I never ended up using it. I know I'm terrible about that. But we're going to use it today. So we're going to add a fun little part to that. You could add a button here. You could add, you know, decorative ribbon around the center. I mean, just friends, the ideas are endless. There we go. There's the words I'm looking for. But again, we're going to get this all trimmed off, and then we'll just hot glue it down so you won't even be able to tell where we trimmed that edge off. So I think this one is so stinking fun. I just love it. All right, so next up is the canister. So you could even do this with like an old, like a green bean can or something like that. I just happen to have this one from Dollar Tree. Now I'm not going to use the lid that goes with it. I'm going to do something different because I want the lid just to sit flat on the top. And the size of this canister, I thought, oh, this would be cute. You could put like maybe little cotton balls or something in it to have in your bathroom. But I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just using the mop head pieces, and we're just going to hot glue it around, and we're going to go all the way to the bottom of this. And then I was like, make sure when you're gluing this, if you do try this, that you start at the same point, because that way there'll be one seam on it. You won't have multiple seams. So I just kind of took my time smushing it down as I got the hot glue, again, trying to get as much coverage as I can out of each piece from the mop. And then once we get to the bottom, we'll kind of do that same thing where if we have to trim it to a little bit of an angle, and then that way you can just hot glue it down easy peasy. So for the top of this, because again, I just want it to sit on there. I don't want it to go over the edges like what came with it. So I was like, well, let's grab out some cardboard, and I'm just going to trace the lid and just kind of cut on the outside of it so it hangs over just a smidge. And then I was like, we'll put like a knob on it or something like that. That way it's easy just to pull the top off and get out of there whatever you wanted. And friends, thinking about how I said, oh, we should dye the other ones, this one would be fun too, because you could dye them all different colors. I think maybe even just you know, do whatever pattern you want, or maybe you just like if you were doing this color and maybe a brown or something, have the darker on the bottom. I mean, again, possibilities are endless with this. And I love that we still have pieces left over from the mop head. I think that is awesome. Who knows what else we could come up with for using this? So, a really inexpensive way to come up with some crafts and some decor for your house, which y'all know I love that. So, like I said, we're going to trace this out and then we're going to cut this. And I kind of did a thicker cardboard here. I wanted there to be a little bit more heft to the top of it. So, we're going to do that same thing. We're just going to start our centerpiece and then just start going all the way out to the edge. And what I did on the very outside, because you know, I don't want to see that cardboard edge, is that very outer one, I glued it to the rope that was already there. I guess this isn't rope, kind of sort of is. No, it's not. So that it wasn't, you know, I could extend past the cardboard so you wouldn't see that. And then I decided for the knob to use another wood bead. I got a pack of them from, oh gosh, where was I? Oh, Walmart. Like the one side of the bead is flat, so it sits flush. And I thought that would be cute. I like the raw wood with this color. So I'm just going to hot glue that. I thought it would also be fun to do like, oh gosh, what are those, like the little knobs? Do you guys see those when you're like at Hobby Lobby and places like that? You could put one of those decorative, but here's how it turned out, friends, and I'm going to show you all of them again. I just love all of this. So thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the page for more crafts. Thanks, friends.